So here's the deal about getting into public policy. It's not a linear path at all. It's not like becoming a doctor or a lawyer where there's a clearly defined set of steps. Go to school, pass several exams, boom, career. Public policy, it's a little bit more chaotic. Everyone I know in this field has a very different origin story. That said, I think there's very many tried and true strategies that can help you get started, and I'll be sharing my own personal experience along the way. Now, there's going to be a lot of topics, but I'll be diving deeper into every single one of these in future videos. Let's get started. My background wasn't in political science. In fact, I studied international relations, which is adjacent, sure, but it doesn't automatically drop you into the world of domestic policy. Before I ever stepped foot in an office in Washington, D.C., I was working in a bakery. No joke. I didn't have a single internship, a fellowship, or a connection in public policy when I started out. What changed everything for me was the internship I landed in Washington, D.C. during my senior year of college. If you're even remotely curious about working in public policy, I highly recommend considering an internship in DC. The good news is that paid internships, or at least the stipend ones, are becoming more common. Sometimes they'll even consider covering transportation, which is a big help. But be aware, that's not a guarantee, and it's definitely something to talk about up front. Now, I'll be making a whole video soon about how to actually find internships in DC, where to look, and how to spot the ones that are worth your time. So make sure to subscribe if that's something you're curious about. Also, yes, having an internship gives you a leg up. It gives you a better sense of how the public policy world works, helps you build your relationships, and helps you prepare for interviews in the future. But is it required to be in an internship for public policy? No, but it does give you the leg up. Okay, let's talk about networking, a word that's dreaded to me and many other antisocial people, but it's something that's really necessary when getting into the world of public policy and trying to find and pretty much start your career. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. Most of the jobs in this field are concentrated in just one area. Obviously DC, but there are also state capitals, there are also a handful of other larger cities where the odds are, if you're not living there, you're going to have to move to be there. So you have to build up your network intentionally. And there are two big components to that, digitally and in person. Starting with LinkedIn, that's a must. I know it gets clowned on a whole bunch, but it's actually a great tool. And for building your policy community. You can find people who work at agencies or organizations that you're personally interested in knowing more about, and feel free to reach out to them, even if you don't know them, on a message on LinkedIn or email. Many of these folks have been in your position before. They were just starting their career off too, with very little networking, very little knowledge about how to do what they do now. So they have an innate interest, most of the time, to respond to you, to be a resource and help you, and to guide you to go about on building your networking community in whatever city it may be. Now, if you're in a city like DC, take full advantage of in-person networking. These are events that are always happening. If you need to get to know someone, those are the places that you will look for. LinkedIn event searches, Eventbrite, organizational websites, all are great places to start. And if you're in a university and they have a DC office, check in with them. They often host alumni mixers or panel events, which will connect you to grad students and grads already working in the area. One underrated bonus is that these events usually have free food and drinks. Sometimes they have whole meals. When I first moved to DC, I'd go to networking events not only to just build up my network, but to also have dinner. So you're not only saving money, but you're building a network and you're building a community in a field of work that you're interested in blossoming in. Going back to what I said at the very start of this video though, you don't have to go to a major city or the capital in order to get started with your political or policy career. You can work with local elected and appointed officials, you can work with local organizations, work in your local city hall. These are other methods to the craze of policy. But ultimately, they all strive for the same goal. You want to make a change in your local community, you want to affect policy matters, you can do that locally as well. Let's shift gears and talk about what your first job in public policy might look like. Spoiler, it's probably not going to be glamorous, and that's okay. Most entry-level roles involve a lot of administrative work. You're scheduling meetings, taking notes, managing calendars, formatting memos, tracking legislation, that kind of thing. It might feel far from the big picture policy work that you've been wanting to do for many years, but it's how most people start. Think of it like the rite of passage. The most important thing to do during this time is to learn. Ask questions. Observe how decisions are made. Show interest in what your colleagues are working on, even if it's not your exact area of interest. Over time, these small actions will open doors to more substantive policy work. If you're proactive, people will notice. And when they do, you'll start getting pulled into projects that stretch you and build your policy skills. As far as interviews go, here's what employers are usually looking for. I'd say curiosity, dependability, and someone who's going to make their life easier. They don't expect you to come in as a policy expert, especially not right out of college. But they do want to see you that you care, you're ready to work, and you're ready to be part of the team. Interview prep in the policy world is kind of its own beast, and yeah, you guessed it. I'll be covering that later on. So yeah, public policy isn't a straight line. It's a mix of timing, effort, opportunity, and sometimes it's being at the right place at the right time. But it's possible even if you don't come from a traditional background, and I hope I could help you out with that. Whether you're coming from international relations, political science, engineering, a bakery job, or something completely unrelated, there is a way to work if you're intentional about it. Start with what you can control. Look for internship opportunities locally or in other cities and other states. Build your network, both online and in person. Learn how to tell a story, and when the time comes, be ready to take that first role. Even if it's not the dream job right away, because that first role, that's your launch pad. If this video helped you out, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, internships, networking strategies is how you survive the very first steps into your career after college, or if you're just starting off your career in public policy. Hope you enjoyed the video, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.